She hasn't moved in 3 days. You wouldn't know that by looking at her. She looks exactly like something that's been waiting her whole life for this specific moment. Because she has. There's a male at the edge of her web right now. He's been there for 4 minutes. He's not stuck. He chose to stop there. That's the part that should unsettle you. You're about to watch something that happens millions of times across every continent except Antarctica. A negotiation with no language. A decision with no logic you can follow. An outcome that was never guaranteed for either of them. This is the Black Widow mating ritual, and almost everything you think you know about it is wrong. Here's the first thing most people get wrong. She doesn't always kill them. In documented observations of Latrodectus mactans, sexual cannibalism occurs in fewer than 30% of matings. 30%. That means in 70% of cases, he walks away. The story you've been told your whole life, the femme fatale, the male that always dies, is the exception, not the rule. So why does the myth persist? Because the 30% is spectacular. Because we remember the deaths. Because the 70% of survivors crawl away quietly and no one films them. But here's what almost no one understands. The 30% and the 70% aren't random. She's not flipping a coin, she's running a calculation. And the inputs to that calculation are stranger than anything the myth ever gave you. Look at him for a moment. He's been searching for 11 days. His entire lifespan is roughly 180 days. He has spent 6% of his life finding this web. He's smaller than her, much smaller. Her body mass is roughly 8 times his. He knew this before he arrived. His nervous system knew it. It didn't matter. When a male black widow detects female pheromones in the air, a chemical cascade begins in his body that has no off switch. There is no moment where he weighs the risk. There is no decision in the way we use that word. There is only the signal. And the signal says go, so he goes. He stops at the outer edge of her web. Not because he's afraid, because this is where the negotiation begins. Her web carries chemical information embedded directly into the silk. Species identity, reproductive status, hunger level. He reads all of it through contact receptors on his legs. He stands at the edge of her web, and he knows more about her physiology in 30 seconds than most animals ever know about anything. Her hunger level is moderate. That's the best he can hope for. Now he does something that researchers spent decades trying to fully understand. He plucks the thread, not randomly, a specific frequency, a specific rhythm, a signal that means, in the only language this negotiation has, I am not food. I am not food. I am not food. At the same time, glands near his pedipalps release a chemical called methyl salicylate. It travels through the air toward her. It carries one piece of information, his reproductive viability. Strong signals, good mate. Weak signals, at meal. His entire worth in this moment is encoded in that molecule. Everything he is, everything he can offer, compressed into a single chemical floating across 4 inches of night air. She receives it. Her chemoreceptors process it. She doesn't move yet. You're watching this from outside the web. You can see both of them. She's 3 times his length. She could end this in under a second. She hasn't. That stillness is not an answer. It's a test. He begins to move across the web, slowly. Each step is a continuation of the signal. He plucks as he walks. The same rhythm, consistent, unbroken. Because the moment the rhythm breaks, the classification resets. He becomes ambiguous. Ambiguous means food. 3 minutes to cross a web the diameter of a dinner plate. Because every single step is a negotiation. Watch her now. She hasn't moved toward him. She hasn't moved away. She's doing something that looks like nothing, but is everything. She's integrating. His pheromone signal, his vibrational rhythm, her own hunger state, her prior mating history, the time of day, her age, the ambient temperature affecting her metabolic rate, all of it running simultaneously through a nervous system the size of a poppy seed. He reaches the inner web. He's close enough now that you could see the red hourglass on her abdomen if you were standing where he is. He can't see color. That marking was never meant for him. It evolved to warn birds, lizards, mammals with color vision and learned associations. He walks past the most famous warning sign in the animal kingdom, completely blind to it. Mating begins. His pedipalps engage with her epigynom. The connection is physical. Locked. He cannot leave during this window. even if something triggered his escape response. He is attached. She is completely still. The stillness, right here, is the moment the documentary cameras always cut away from, because nothing appears to be happening. But this is actually the most dangerous 4 minutes of his life. She could end it right now. She's choosing second by second not to. You're watching a decision being made in real time. You just can't see it happening. The transfer completes. His body registers it. Hers does too, and hers registers it first. Her foreleg moves 1 millimeter toward him. He feels it through the web. His escape response fires, some not thought, pure reflex, and he pulls back from the connection. 1 leg off the web, then 2. Then he's moving toward the perimeter. She doesn't follow. He reaches the outer edge, steps off onto the branch where she anchored the web, stops. Here's what you'd expect to happen next. He leaves. He survived. Story over. Here's what actually happens. His body resets. The methyl salicylate production drops briefly, reserves spent, then begins rebuilding. His nervous system returns to baseline, and the signal returns, go, go, go. She's still producing pheromones. He can still detect them. The web is 4 inches away. His body doesn't want to spend 11 more days finding another female. He looks back at the web. Not with memory, not with any recognition of what just happened, just with receptors that are still receiving her signal, and a nervous system that still has only one response to that signal. He goes back. Research from the University of Toronto tracked 62 mating pairs of Latrodectus hesperus. In 47% of cases where the male initially escaped, he returned to the same female for a second approach. The second approach is different in one critical way. His pheromone signal is weaker now, reserves depleted from the first mating. His reproductive value, lower. His biomass value, unchanged. The calculation runs again with new inputs. The scale tips differently this time. Her chelicerae open, not slowly, not as a threat display, simply open. The way a door opens when someone has finally decided to use it. The venom of Latrodectus species contains one of the most studied neurotoxins from any arachnid on Earth. It doesn't destroy tissue. It doesn't cause immediate pain the way most venoms do. It does something more precise than that. It targets the junctions between nerve cells and muscle fibers. It forces synaptic vesicles, the tiny pouches that store neurotransmitters, to open all at once. Every chemical signal the nervous system carries, released simultaneously. The muscles receive every command at the same time. Contract and relax arriving together. The body tries to obey everything. It obeys nothing. This process unfolds over hours. She doesn't watch. She returns to the center of her web. She begins checking the anchor threads. The web needs maintenance. The web always needs maintenance. She'll mate again. 2, 3, maybe 4 more times before the season ends. She'll consume roughly half of those males. The other half will walk away carrying something they can't name and don't understand. A survival with no explanation. A reprieve that wasn't mercy, just math. The Black Widow doesn't know what she is to us. She doesn't know about the name, the mythology, the symbol, the centuries of stories humans built around what she does. She knows silk, she knows vibration, she knows the difference between the signal that means mate and the signal that means food. Sometimes those signals arrive together, in the same body, from the same source. She responds to the strongest one. That's not cruelty, that's not indifference. That's just what it looks like when something follows its nature completely, without apology, without awareness that an apology was ever expected. You've been watching something ancient tonight, something that was running this same calculation before our species existed, something that will keep running it long after we're gone. The web is still out there right now. She's still at the center of it, waiting for the next vibration. There's always a next vibration.